everyone. Welcome to the next video. And here we go. So let's conclude with the human form. Of course, more information you're going to find in my book and everything. But today I will just kind of, in this video, I would like to kind of, sketch briefly this kind of models you can buy, actually, you can purchase. Yes, on this is one. I'm going to do two of them different. So this is one for your practice of human figure. Yeah, you can put them anywhere you want, and they have this. I spoke already about this. I talked about this earlier. They have some kind of arm which you can actually put the model there, and you can do with them whatever you want. But the way of practicing would be, of course, the geometry of the form, isn't it, in the space? So let's say this is kind of jumpy way, of the figure. So what you're going to do, you remember what we are doing, the last time if you practice, you already have certain, knowledge how to do this. So what we see here, the head is kind of profile, but seen from the top, isn't it? Yes. So actually, if you go there, you will see that this is the back of the head, and this is just the side. Yes. Okay. So actually, I see it a little bit different than you see it, because I'm seeing from my angle, and you see this model, of course, from as the camera sees it. So it's not the same. So I'm going to just adjust this a little bit as I am seeing this. Yes, because I am seeing something around this line. Yeah, a little bit like from the back. Yes, just a second. Yeah, let's just adjust this stuff. When you operate with these models, you have to be very careful, because I just lost the hand. Yes, so you have to gently, manipulate with those. Otherwise, it is going to be, fragile. You can break it very easy. So let's go. I'm going to draw as the camera shows. Yes. So, for example, well, I see the face from the top. So what am I going to do? Of course, first is the angle of the ellipse. Yes, is something around those lines. Yes, and now perpendicularly to this, I'm going to do less or more the same, isn't it? Yes. The only difference now in here is that, as you can see, the eye level, yeah, the eye level is a little bit lower than in the middle. It's somewhere there, yeah. So what it means, if I have the eye level somewhere here, a little bit lower than the middle, that means that I see a little bit of the top of the head, isn't it? Yes. As much lower as it is, I see this is, let's say, the top of the head. Yes. So I see kind of a little bit from the top this entire face. If I want to go much more in details, so I would do something like this. Yes, chin, maybe some nose going to be visible there, and I know that my eye level is somewhere there, isn't it? So once you have the head, yes, you know that the neck is kind of coming this way, isn't it? This way. And you have the body line. If you go there, the body line is, you see this line there, yeah? So you try to kind of capitalize this. So from the neck, the chest goes approximately here, and after it turns somewhere there, yeah? Okay, so now, of course, you have to take the heads. So if you take this space and this space, yes, the top and this entire, so you can go like 1, 2, 3. You're going to arrive approximately to 1/3 of the buttocks, yes? So the half body is not there when the buttocks finish, is there, yeah, when the pubic finish. So let's go. 1 head, 2 heads, 3 heads. So somewhere there, I would have this, line of the half of the body, yeah. And the buttocks we're gonna add later, but for now we just concerned about the form, geometric form. And now, if you take this width of this, and the width, what you can see here is approximately, if I take this width of the head and I compare with with this part, or a little bit with the chest even. So I have approximately less or more the same. The other thing you have to know that 1/3 of the head is somewhere there, isn't it? Yes, because now it's higher. Why? Because you see it from the top. Yeah, we see from the top. So it's shortening. So, but I know approximately where the arms has to go. See, I have this kind of angle of the arms, isn't it? Why it is important? Because now, if you go with this part, you know that somewhere there, you have the top part of the arms. You take this width, so it's approximately 1, 2, somewhere there, yeah? Somewhere there, you have the other parts, and now you can kind of assume that that's it. That's the top of the arms. And the neck, of course, it enters somewhere there, isn't it? Yeah, in the space. So now you go further with everything following the angle, yeah, somewhere like this, and you will do the same here, for example, and the same here and somewhere there, and you go, you know, further with your forms, less or more like that, isn't it? Yeah. So now, of course, if you do kind of in half, so somewhere there, you're going to have the first part of the chest, isn't it? Block. If you cut it there, you're going to see a little bit the, of course, pelvis part, isn't it? Going to be something like that, isn't it? Yeah. And you're going to have the spinal cord, yeah, which you kind of connect those. Yes, you have some kind of connections there, isn't it? Yeah. So now, as you go with the legs, you know one thing, that this is the top of the head. So if you go there, yes. So from there you go one and something. You kind of actually you try to follow half of it. So it's going to be to the knees. And the other, of course, goes over there. Yeah. Yeah. The same. And from there, somewhere you're going to have the feet, isn't it? And the other one, of course, start from there, but you have a little bit different angle because it goes this way. Yes. Okay. And somewhere there, you're going to have this knee, and you go there, and you're going to have, of course, the other foot somewhere there. So in order to conclude this part, of course, you can imagine that you see a little bit, you know, this kind of geometric form, for example, of this, you know, tides. Then you see some kind of geometric form of the calves, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. And you can have some kind of sphere for the knee. Okay. You can synthesize a little bit the form of the foot, isn't it? And you have the heel, and then you have the rest of the, of course, for the foot as it goes. Yes. The same you can go there, yeah, this way. So somewhere there you have the tide, yes. You have the tide coming like that. Okay, you have the tide. And then you have the knee, of course. From there you have the calf, isn't it? Yes, calf like that, yes. And you have, of course, the foot. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit kind of out there, so you repeat the same thing with the foot, and you see a little bit the I'm sorry. You see a little bit the top of the foot there. And here you have, of course, the smaller part of it and so on. Yeah. Here you can see actually only the side of it. Here you see a little bit the top of the heel. So you have approximately this kind of pre-sketch. And of course, you have arms. The other arm is not visible. It's coming. You see actually a little bit of it, yeah, over there, but it's kind of not visible because all this arm is hiding behind the chest. So here only you have, you know, the way the place from which the arms get out. And now you know. Look, here you have approximately belly button on the third head, yes? So if you go with this kind of, you know, circular form, so you know that somewhere here, yeah, I'm sorry, somewhere here you have the upper arm, yeah? Here you have, of course, the sphere for the elbow, and you go with the forearm, conical one, isn't it? And then here you have the form of the hand approximately, yeah, how it goes, yes, with the thinner here, yeah. So you see, This kind of models you can use actually of creating forms, and this is the first practice if you want to really feel very well the kind of human form in the space. That's the thing you should actually, practice first. Forget the realistic shapes. You have to first understand, the blocks of the body, separate blocks, synthesize, of course, in this kind of simplistic forms. Sorry for this. Okay, so we have kind of part of the head. Okay, so let's try to do this, to finish this approximately. So this kind of exercises, yes, you should kind of play with, yes, first, okay? And before you start, of course, drawing much more realistic shapes. And this kind of models, as you can see here, yeah, this one, might serve you for this kind of exercises, yes? You can even imagine that you can see this actually a little bit from the top, isn't it? Yes, a little bit from the top, yes? So you put kind of like, you see a little bit this side of this cow, for example, here, yeah? You have this here like this, and the same you can have the other one, yeah? You can see it a little bit from the top, if you like, yes? It doesn't matter, because after when you draw the final forms, of course, you will kind of make it, and here also you show a little bit the inner part. Here's the top part, covering a little bit the, yes, with these forms and so on. So, and the good thing is that the forms kind of resemble the synthesized kind of form of the, feet and the legs and everything. Yes, so here you have now the back part, and there's the side of the head. So that would be, for example, synthesization of this kind of, brief study of this model. Of course, the others you can also purchase if you want to kind of have something a little bit more solid. Yes, like for example, something of this kind. Yeah, this of course models much more kind of robotic, much more details they have. You can make these hands any way you want and so on. Yeah. So of course you also can make this kind of running or something. Yes, it's too big to show you a whole, because I would intend the drawing is going to be very small. So for example, if you're going to have something of this kind, as I show you here, I see this differently than the camera, so I would try to kind of make it, for example, 3/4 the head. Let's say we have this kind of, 3/4, figure, yeah, in some kind of movement, yeah. So let's go here and try to draw this. Yes, side. Just a second, I'm going to put the white paper and maybe move it this little bit here, yeah, something around those lines. So let's try to make it now as the camera sees it. So you see, you have 3/4, yeah, you can see it, the space here and there, yeah. This normally should be here in the middle, yes, because this is the first ellipse, and here is like 3/4. So for example, I'm gonna start with this kind of, I'm gonna make it smaller, yeah, the sketch. So you see this ellipse, you put this ellipse, yeah, and this is very nice, fun to sketch like this. And feel free and just kind of try to, figure it out, really the entire form. I don't want to draw all of it because we don't see it, but anyway, something like this. So perpendicular to this, yes. Now I know that it's 3/4. So somewhere here, I take this small part, I add it there. And now in this space, perpendicularly, I draw another ellipse, but it's much more rounder than the one, vertical one, isn't it? Now, somewhere there, you see, It is the neck part. Yes. From this position, I'm going to see, you see the line of the shoulders. Look, the line of the shoulders is approximately, you see this space is 1/3. Yeah. So I take 1/3 somewhere there. So I see that the line of the shoulders go a little bit this way. Yes. Okay. So one is a little bit kind of, slightly higher. If I just align this stick, you see you have a little bit angle, you see this kind of angle. So my angle, because I look at the model, my angle going to be something like this. So I'm going to correct my angle here because I need to draw as it is, the camera sees it, not as I see it. Okay. And now, of course, we have some kind of form going less or more that direction, isn't it? Don't erase anything. If you commit some error or something, do not bother with that to erasing. It's better to correct it, your errors always on the top, the other lines, because then you do the real corrections. If you do not do that, you're going to erase this. You might commit a few times the same mistake. So I would rather not suggest you to do this. And now let's go forehead. So approximately 1, 2, 3 is here. So somewhere there, of course, I have this kind of angle of the pelvis, because you see, is a little bit different angle of the pelvis and this of the arms, isn't it? So now we go. Now we see the 3/4 torso. So what we do? Well, we do the same thing as I told you this previously. With, we put here, yeah, and another from the other side. There's one here. And now you see 3/4 here, yes? Okay, because your head is, you see, that's the side of the head now, yes? And this is the top of the head, yeah, okay? So we have the head approximately that way. Of course, you see the muscles there, yeah? You remember the things which I was like this head, yes? You have the 1/3 here, and then you have one width of the head here and there, and you have the triangle there, yeah? So this part there, that is very well in this indication of this, in this model, this kind of massive, massive muscles there. Yeah. From there, of course, the neck goes inside to the chest. Anyway, so if we go further now, of course, we have all kind of, cuts here, because it's kind of robotic version, and all these parts movable and adjustable. But we're going to consider this as we have, yeah, half somewhere there, another half somewhere there, yeah. And what we have, 3/4. So we take approximately this part of the head, yeah, and we go there, yeah. So you see, now you will see probably something like this because we're looking a little bit from the top of this model. So we're going to have something like this, something like that. Over there, we're going to see just like this, and of course, normally we would see something around this line, yeah, and we have the connections there. Okay, so legs. Well, we go and we know that they're coming somewhere from that parts, yeah. So I'm gonna just put this kind of dimensionality here a little bit, yeah, with the shading. And now, of course, one is coming from where, you remember this, yeah, for the sitting forms, yeah, sitting forms, yeah. So you're gonna have approximately one coming where goes this way, yes. And again, if you go only to the knees, take half of this, you see, this space, half of it, and you put it there. So somewhere there you have a knee, okay? Okay, you simplify the knee, not like this one or in the model, because it's much more robotic. Okay, and you can even imagine that the tide is coming somewhere from there, yeah, okay, something like this. And you have this part, you have the knee somewhere there, yeah, and you, of course, it goes after to the calf, yeah. We don't see it go entirely, but something around those lines. So now, if I kind of adjust this a little bit, because I did it too maybe long, yeah, and over there, another, it goes that way, isn't it? And you have approximately on the same level. So now we have the knee, and the other calf is going somewhere there. So here we have, of course, the tight, yeah, another tight, yeah. Approximately try to make them less or more the same. You have the calf coming from there, yeah, something like this. Yeah. And of course, now you have the arms. You know that here they come from there. So you're going to have one, it's going to go somewhere like that, isn't it? It's somewhere there. You have the third head approximately here. So if you go, you know that they go until here. You have the elbows there. Yeah. And from there, you're going to have a little bit the forearm coming. Yes. Okay. So you're going to have the first form. The other, of course, you see it a little bit. Yes, going that way. So the same, this is approximately on the same level. So you see now the upper arm less or more that way, isn't it? And you have, of course, here the forearm going less or more, you know, this way, isn't it? And of course, you have your palette of the hand, which is going that way, and is much more thinner here and there. Yeah, something on those lines. And here you see this palette going less or more from the profile like this. Of course, simplified, yes. And you see a little bit the inner part, and you have a little bit this part. So this is in shadow, yeah. And here we only have the shadow on the side, for example, maybe a little bit here because it's kind of folded, isn't it? And of course, we're going to have the kind of core shadow. If you want kind of, you know, make it dimensional, those, you will always put core shadow somewhere, yeah? Look, if I add core shadow right away, this forms dimensionalize, yes? Okay. The same is, of course, here and there. So you can kind of, you know, construct the forms, you know, and the same here, yeah? Yeah, so we can even see it that way. You see a little bit of shadow on this sphere, a little bit over there, yeah, and a little bit over here. So everything is getting much more dimensional right away, isn't it? And also the ties, you can adjust them a little bit, yeah, make it much more nicer, not too long, not too big, maybe even shorten it. You see, I am correcting my mistakes, yes, my mistakes, I'm correcting, you know, on the previous sketch, you know, because I'm going to just put a little bit stronger line and everything going to be, you know, kind of okay, yes. This is, of course, practice of the forms, you know, of the forms, just the proportions of the forms and the kind of dimensionality, the kind of three-dimensional parts of this figure and so on. So you can use, you see, this kind of models here, yeah. You can use any way you want, and you can enjoy, of course, imagining how they're going to be, yes. So and you can, of course, do all kind of things. You can make it this as you want. You can put it any way you like, yeah, and you can enjoy sketching it, yes, any way you like, you know. And the same is here, yeah. Those models are much more cheaper, and you have to be careful with them, but they serve the same purpose. So if you kind of want to economize, you would rather go for something like that, because the other is around $100, and this is approximately, they were $14 before, but after the COVID, it gets, you know, 27, I think now, for couple, yeah? It's two of them, it's man and lady. And always buy both. Don't buy just one, you know, because it's cheaper. You buy both, because the ladies, they have different, you know, a little bit different nuances of the form than the men. Yes, men is much more, you see, solid, yeah, much more, the muscles are much more solid and everything. So I would suggest to buy, of course, couple right away. And so have a fun sketching a little bit the way I was showing you here. Yeah.